Retirement is an inevitable part of sport. And this three-part mini-series will look at how sports professionals cope with this transition. Welcome to the other side of the line. Life after sport.
I started suffering from depression really bad. I couldn't get the thought of suicide out of my mind. As hard as I tried, hard as I wanted to, it wouldn't leave me. Should I get in my car, wrap it around my tree, should I take loads of pills and drink loads of ale? It just wouldn't come out of my mind.
Retirement can be a difficult time for athletes, leading to depression, a loss of identity and isolation. State of Mind is a charity that promotes positive mental health and well-being amongst professional sportsmen and women, delivering its message through presentations to a variety of sports.
We're just trying to basically get rid of that stigma that's attached to mental health. It can affect anyone, and rugby league is definitely leading the way. You know, we're an exemplar to any other sport, how mental health does need to be looked after.
Retirement affects each athlete individually. Most sports professionals see retirement as a positive experience, an opportunity to pursue roles that were perhaps ignored or unavailable to them during their careers.
Now I'm in a really good place because I know exactly what I'm doing. I think it's hard to cope with it when you haven't got a plan and your whole identity is triathlon or whatever sport you're in, and then you're kind of lost and you've got nothing and you feel like you've lost your identity completely. But if you've got a plan or something else that you're going to be doing, then I think it's a lot easier. And now I know what I'm doing and I've got a clear-cut plan of where I'm going. It's great. I mean, I feel good.
Recent research has found that approximately 15 to 20% of ex-professionals seek psychological assistance during this transition. But it is in fact the individual and resources available to the individual which determine whether the athlete responds positively or negatively to retirement.
For many athletes, being an athlete forms the main part of their identity. So we typically find in research that athletes who have a kind of what's called a linear trajectory, whereby they're 100% focused on being an athlete and that's all they've known, those athletes can struggle with planning their retirements. They typically don't confront it as much as people who maybe have more multiple identities and layers to themselves as an athlete and human being. So I think one key area that athletes can affect how people cope with retirement is how much emphasis they place on sport and being an athlete.
What mental health conditions are commonly associated with retired athletes?
In terms of specific mental health conditions, so there's a case of athletes having kind of diminished feelings of self-worth, largely due to the kind of notion that athletes struggle to kind of consider what they can do after sport because sport's pretty much all they've known. You've got kind of other mental health conditions like stress, anxiety, feelings of kind of guilt perhaps and rejection and failure maybe, particularly from athletes who maybe been forced to retire a little bit earlier, who've really got something else to give to their sport. And obviously the biggest one in mental health is obviously depression.
Examples of retirement being traumatic for athletes are unfortunately easy to come by. However, retirement is now viewed by psychologists as a transitionary period, rather than a single and all-ending event.